A busy college football slate. The early lines we'll take a look at. What are some of the things that stand out early in this week, as this college football season has really just been a wild bunch of games, cancellations, more games postponed. That Miami-Georgia Tech game's been moving. We got Mississippi-Texas A&M. That game is being postponed. There's a game tonight that's postponed. So we will take a look at the schedule and some of the things that stand out for this Week 12 of the college season and also the NFL season. Jeff Nadu, BarstoolSports.com, the big man on campus. I know he's itching for the NBA draft and college basketball and college football weekend. So let's get into it with him right now, on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Jeff, welcome back, pal. How are you?
I'm great, Mike. How are you?
All is good, man. And, this college football season is flying. We're at week number 12. We got about a month left to go in the season. And I know we got 2 weeks of action now, and I want to kind of get your overview. Very frustrating so far of what we've seen. I know a lot of people who have been betting these games have kind of been disenchanted with the MAC action so far. So what are some of your observations or thoughts on any of these Tuesday night, Wednesday night games that we're getting?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty bad football, to be really frank. I don't look at the MAC. I mean, it's not even something that I really enjoy much. It's just bad football. The defenses suck. There's just tons of stuff that you really can't prepare for. And it's the lowest level of football, in my opinion. I mean, there's just not a ton of great quarterbacks. It's a rough league. I don't get much involved with it. And when I do, it's been minimal. So, I look to avoid the MAC. The problem that bettors have, and one thing I think they love, is that it's on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And most, casual gamblers are betting. They want to bet every night. They want to just sit there and watch a game and have money on it, even though they don't have a legitimate reason to bet it. They just do it to do it. I'm not a huge fan of MAC football. I don't like the basketball league either, for that record. But I'm not interested.
Right, so tonight you got the Tuesday, Wednesday stuff out on that. Thursday there's a Tulane, Tulsa, Utah State, Wyoming, and then Friday night we got a real stinker with Syracuse, Louisville, Minnesota, Purdue. Any of the stuff leading into the weekend jumping out at you early?
I think Tulsa-Tulane's interesting. Tulsa just continues to play really good football. That was a big win the other night against Southern Methodist, a game they were down 21-0, and they came back and were able to get the job done. They were terrific defensively in the second half. Tulane coming off a tough, kind of gritty game. They had to kind of shake out, but, they had never any issue. But anytime you play Army, it's a tough game. So I think they're going to be a team that, maybe struggles a little bit here. Tulane at defense, it's not great. Tulsa at home here. You got to figure you're just going to kind of bury Tulane when Tulane has the football. Tulsa's a good defense. They can shut good offenses down. I might look to lean on Tulsa here to maybe cover the touchdown. But you mentioned Syracuse, Louisville. Keep in mind some coronavirus issues for Louisville. They had one of their best players opt out recently. So, there's some things you need to be looking at when you're looking. But Utah State is a really bad football team. They got to head to Laramie and play a Wyoming who's looked solid. But you mentioned it. Not a lot to really wet your whistle with this week. I think again, do what you want on weekday games, but they're always very sharp line-wise.
I know that I see this game on Saturday just to get some early thoughts on East Carolina Temple. I know there are two teams that you typically have some good info on. Opened up at 2, already jumping up to 4.5 some places with Temple as a dog.
Yeah, I mean, this actually has went all over the place. And the reason for it is Real Mitchell is going to be the quarterback for Temple this week. Russo has coronavirus. I got to be honest, Mike. I continue to just be disgusted with the coach, Rod Carey. I mean, this guy just will not talk about anything. I mean, for all week last week, he told us that, Anthony Russo's fine. He'll be out there. He'll make the trip. He's practicing. And then all of a sudden, Saturday comes, and an hour before the game, he all of a sudden doesn't make the trip. So, when that happens and Real Mitchell plays, that's bad news if you're a Temple fan. Real Mitchell is not a Division I quarterback. Look, the kid tries hard, but he's just not good. ECU should really be viewing this game as a winnable opportunity. They have plenty of weapons. They're not a great team, but Mike Houston has them play hard, and it's going to be a tough atmosphere at the Link on Saturday. No crowd with the coronavirus sanctions. So, yeah, I would look towards ECU here. At 3.5, that's actually a pretty solid play. Temple is really bad without Russo.
I got to get your take early in the week here. This BYU number is 47.5. I don't know that I've ever seen a line that big. 47.5 BYU North Alabama. I mean, if you like to bet on BYU games, I know that you typically you like the quarterback there and you like to try to get involved with BYU. But man, at what point do you say, even at 47.5, I got to lay off this thing?
I have bet bigger numbers before. 5 years ago or so, I bet Miami as a 48.5 point unfavored against Savannah State, which, I remember that vividly. But, yeah, you don't see numbers this high. But, that's how good BYU is. This is a kind of a low part in the schedule. I talked before about BYU. You just don't have a lot of games left that you can really kind of showcase your talent. And, look, North Alabama is not going to move the stakes either. North Alabama, though, I have to give it to them. They've actually played pretty hard. They were actually decent against Liberty, an undefeated team. They played Southern Miss tough, but, this is a different kind of wavelength. You've got to think that Sataki's going to look to get plenty of time for his backups in this game. But, you look at them right now, Mike, BYU needs style points. And I got to tell you, a 61-0 win would look real good in the committee's eyes. You look at Northern Alabama, their goal is to, go out and make money. That's why they take these games. They never come in with the thought that they can win them. I would frankly lay the points. I wouldn't be taking points here. Northern Alabama probably loses this game 55-0. That's where I'd put it. And if you can get BYU to score 52, you'll cover this game because I don't think Northern Alabama will score.
All right, Jeff Nadu, Barstool Sports. I want to get one more college game. We do the full college card on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock, so make sure you check back for a little bit more. But speaking of Northern Alabama, let's go to Alabama because Bama obviously is in the national championship picture. Kentucky's one of the worst teams in the country. You got a 31-point number, 30.5. I know that's a big number, but, man, Kentucky's awful.
Yeah, they've definitely struggled. Frankly, I was a little blown away with how bad they looked defensively against Vandy. Vandy continues to be pretty interesting. Ken Seals, the quarterback's played well. They've been able to run the ball. I'm not as down on Kentucky, Mike, as I think you seem to be. I don't think they're. I don't think they're like really horrible. I think they have some pieces. I thought they were solid against Tennessee. I thought they held in the game against Georgia. I'm not quite sure that I would lay 30.5 points against Kentucky. I don't look at Kentucky as the bottom of the barrel in the SEC. I think they're competent. I think Terry Wilson's a decent player. He can move the ball. And they have a good running back in Chris Rodriguez. So I would probably take the points if this is anything above 28. Alabama generally doesn't cover numbers like this. You really would probably want to more or less, if you like Alabama, maybe look to the first half or something like that. But, frankly, I don't hate Kentucky the way you do, Mike. So I would lean decent defense, I feel like. And if I had to, I would take the points.
Well, maybe I'm just spewing a little hyperbole here. I mean, they're bad. They're not maybe as bad as I'm giving them credit for. But you see that kind of matchup there. Bama, as you mentioned, needs the style points as well. That's why in college, you're right. I mean, these teams, they got to win big. So you see mismatches like that. You think blowout. Is there another game on this college card early that you want to discuss before I throw a couple NFLers your way?
Well, I obviously have had the Washington State Cougars on my mind. I've liked the way this team's played. I know they didn't get the job done on Saturday, but I thought they played pretty damn good against Oregon. They just kind of ran into, I thought, a better team. Stanford continues to deal with coronavirus issues. Their quarterback has been out. Defensive players have been out. This Washington State team is solid, Mike, and they've done it first two games without their best running back, Max Borghi. He should be back pretty soon. I'm going to be buying Washington State here as an underdog. I'm not quite sure what the odds makers are seeing. Stanford lost to a pretty bad Colorado team over the weekend. Defensively, I don't think Stanford's very good. I think this is probably a higher scoring game as well, and I'll be having my eye on the over here. But if I can get Washington State as as an underdog, I'll be buying. And I feel like you're not going to get this number for much longer, so you might want to scoop this one up now. Washington State is a really solid football team to me.
All right, make sure you follow at Jeff Nadu as you can get some plays from him. Tweet back and forth, watch his videos, go to barstoolsports.com. He's got an entire college basketball play as we are about 2 weeks away now from the start of the college basketball season. I have two NFL games I want to get your thoughts on. We'll go deeper on our Saturday segment. One is Jacksonville plus 10 at home. They played tough last week against Green Bay. Everyone keeps waiting for the Steelers to have that moment. So at plus 10, is there something you like in this game?
Well, I think I like the way you're thinking, Mike. I think you are going to have a game where the Steelers will slip up. And if you were to ask me when that would be, I would probably say this week. This is a tough game. It is a road game. It's a big number, as you said. And it's a Steeler team that, this season, has been good as a favorite, but they've only laid more than 10.5 points as a road favorite once, and they weren't able to cover. You also look at over the last two seasons, they're not a road favorite very often. They haven't been in these roles. And, the Jags fight. You got to give them that. I thought they're really solid the other night. I will say, though, keep in mind they had a punt return for a touchdown, which, you're probably not going to have this week. But Jake Luton, you got to have him play better. He needs to kind of keep rolling. But James Robinson's been one of the better rookies that no one talks about. I think they have a pretty solid receiving core. I kind of like the way you're thinking here. Steelers will slip up soon. I expect them to be very publicly bet here. You already look at, I think, once this week goes on, you'll start seeing Steeler people come in. This will be a big teaser piece. Wouldn't surprise me if this is like 30-27. I mean, I think the Steelers are probably going to have to fight to win this one, and the Jags play tough. I'll give them that. All
right, my other one that I want to get your opinion on, and again, Jeff and I on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, we take a little deeper dive into some of these games. He does a little bit more. This is the early look at some of these things if you want to jump on something early in the week before that line starts to move. And the Dolphins, a favorite on the road at 3. Denver is a tough team at home. They're such a hard team to read here, but are we trusting the Dolphins yet where they're a 3-point road favorite at a place like Denver?
I think sharps are. If you look at the sharp money coming in, sharp bettors are actually taking Miami. I think a lot of people are going to think kind of the whole, Denver's at home here. Do we trust Miami? I don't think a lot of people trusted Miami last week against the Chargers, and they were able to find a way. This is a team that played tough. I mean, they're starting to look – I mean, Mike, if I asked you do you think Miami is a top 5 statistical defense in the NFL, would you say yes or no?
Just because we talk about them enough, I would probably say yes, but I think the common guy would probably say no.
Well, yeah, and they are. They're very good defensively. They've had even some players out. Van Noy missed a game last week, I want to say. You look at it as a favorite this year. 5-1 against over the last 3 seasons, 5-1 against the spread. So they're not a favorite often, but when they're a favorite, they cover, including twice this season. They've covered as a favorite. Denver continues to just kind of be a perplexing team. I don't think Denver's very good defensively. I think a lot of people just assume that, they have Von Miller and Chris Harris and all these guys from 4 or 5 years ago. But this group has struggled defensively. They struggled over the weekend. They were just destroyed against Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs and the Raiders. I'm not necessarily buying the Broncos. I'm not buying what they're selling. Flores has done a terrific job. I would lean with the Dolphins here.
All right, we'll do deeper on Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. Jeff Nadu, Barstool Sports, NBA draft tomorrow night. You got to lean on who's the top pick. I guess you can even bet on that because no one knows yet.
Yeah, I would be very surprised if it wasn't Anthony Edwards, the shooting guard out of Georgia. If you look at the Timberwolves and their makeup, obviously D'Angelo Russell runs point. You have Karl Anthony Towns. They need a solid off-the-ball two guard that has obviously a ton of rise and ceiling in them. I see a lot of Dwayne Wade in Edwards. And from what I understand, character is important. You know, we've seen that bother teams. From what I understand, Edwards is a terrific, tough, hard worker. He's going to put in countless hours. He's going to really become, any of his deficiencies is going to improve. So if you can find a bet where you can kind of talk about the top four, I would go Edwards, Wiseman, Ball, Avdija. I think that's the top four.
All right. Sixers pick 21st, by the way. They got 4 picks in the second round. We will have that tomorrow night on 97.3 ESPN. Just
imperative that
Go ahead, Jeff.
Imperative they make the right selections, Mike. Imperative. This team has countlessly just destroyed themselves by not picking in second rounds, late first-round pick. You've got to make the right selections. They need a shooter. They need someone that can defend. Tyrell Terry is a terrific player to Stanford. He's the best shooter in this draft, in my opinion, outside of Aaron Naismith. They need to take Tyrell Terry. They need to go out and get some solid bench players in the second round. That's where teams are made in the second round. Start making picks instead of getting rid of them.
Yeah, Terry's nice. 41% from 3, combo guard, quick release, shoots it off the catch. Yep. I like that pick by you. 21, he should be there. So we'll see. Cole Anthony's another guy who's kind of interesting. Flynn from San Diego. You don't like Anthony?
No. Please no.
No Anthony.
From what I understand, I've done some heavy research on Cole Anthony. Not a great character guy. I don't think he'll be there. I think Miami would maybe look for someone else. But yeah, I'm out on Cole Anthony. But I'm sure they'll take him because that's who I don't want them.
Okay, do you like the kid Flynn from San Diego State?
I do. Malachi Flynn, great scorer. I think he's a guy that if he's there late, I would look at him if the Lakers are there. I think he'd fit really well there. He's just a volume scorer. I saw him absolutely destroy teams last year. The kid is just a bucket getter. I would have no problem with Malachi Flynn. I'd be very happy with that.
All right. Can't wait for the draft tomorrow. I love NBA draft night. You're right. Getting these guys, I'm interested to see what Morey does, see if we get a little action. Would you trade for Harden?
In a second.
All right.
Of course I would trade for Harden. I think they have to trade for James Harden. You cannot continue this charade with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. It just isn't working. And, I see my teams around the league getting better. Teams around the Sixers, a team like Milwaukee, who recognize they have deficiencies. This roster has a lot of deficiencies. I'm not sure why I'm the only person that seems to not understand why they're not doing anything. Go out and make some moves. Yes, go out and get James Harden. He fits here. He'd be perfect. Move on from Joel Embiid. I'm tired of the antics with the weight and the out of shape and the same antics in the playoffs. Put Bennett to 3 or 4. Let James Harden create and build around them.
All right, Jeff Nadu, BarstoolSports.com. If you're in PA, get the Barstool app. Great numbers coming out on the app. It's been doing fantastic. It's been fun. Tuesdays, he's back on Saturday morning, 9 o'clock, right here on the Best of the Sports Best. Jeff, hope your move's going all right, pal.
Well, Mike, it's funny because things work in a wild way. I have to talk to you about that off the air. Real quick, also, follow me on Instagram. I started an Instagram. I stay with Twitter a lot, but follow me at Barstool BMOC. I put some good stuff over there. Follow me. I'm trying to grow the Instagram profile, Mike, like all these young kids.
All right. We will get that out there for you. Follow him there, Barstool BMOC, and come back Saturday morning and have some coffee with us. Jeff, take care, man.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, Jeff Nadu, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. The early lines right there. Jeff Nadu back Saturday morning for more.